Happy Friday. The weather is terrible. It was supposed to be really good today, and me and Anne-Marie were supposed to be going riding together. I think we were going to go to Cannantine, going back there after it's been felled and been built. But we've cancelled it because the weather's shocking worse over her way. So today I've come up with the bright idea of going and seeing how good the Rallon is on a cross-country run. But first, I've come into work, into the office, so that I actually get it done, to do some editing, because I've got really far behind with my vlog. Good choice to do editing first, I think. It has just got way worse with the rain, and I can hear the front door of the gym rattling in the wind as well. And over there is, behind those trees, the estuary, which you probably can't make out on the camera right now because the fact that it is so full of rain clouds and rain, you can't see it. It just looks like one big grey foggy thing. But at least the bird poo got washed off my car. I'm not sure if I've actually shown on any of my vlogs where I work or what I actually do. Just put the Fortis indexes at the end of my videos. So I'm going to give you a little tour now. I'm waiting for the rain to stop, so might as well. So here's the view from the balcony. So this is the main part of the gym here. Fortis Performance, so that's the little logos you see at the end. Big door where I can hear the rain and the wind buffering. Down the corridor, so the upstairs for us, so us is myself and Pete, is the printing. So we do all the printing and stuff in here, got some orders ready to go. So you can see we've done some stuff for White Cloud Coffee, as well as printing our own gym merch. Pin stuff, obviously. And then in here is all the machines that make all the stuff to do the actual printing. So whether it's t-shirts direct onto it or the transfers to be heat pressed later. And then my main job really, which has been my job for sort of the last 10 years, is a personal trainer. So this is the gym. So coming down the stairs from the office, got all of our toilets, shower and toilet in there, and main part of the gym down here. But we are at the moment in the process of working on the unit next door, which we're going to knock through around here to make it even bigger and add some extra equipment in so we can do more classes and bits and pieces like that, which we don't do at the moment because obviously it's mainly personal training and coaching in here. What I'm really pleased about is, although this is all cracked and peeling again, this pillar was absolutely hideous because we had a leak coming through there every single time it rained, and it hasn't leaked after all the rain that we've had the last couple of days. So super pleased with that, because that means I can just do the finishing touches to that and then not have to worry that every single time it rains it's going to leak all over the place. So pretty happy. I am now going to have something to eat before I start my pedal. I've done one vlog, finished a vlog, which ironically is completely different weather to what's outside at the moment. It's really, really sunny over Dartmoor. So I'm gonna have something to eat and then I'm gonna force myself to start getting dressed so that I can go out and ride. What I'm super happy about at the moment is my abs. So I can't run, but I've still been training, been on the bike, and just generally doing my normal stuff that I would do in the gym, and I've got pretty good abs at the moment, so the injury's not all bad. Right, we have made it out. It definitely sounded worse on my roof than it did when I actually got outside. It is definitely going to be wet, but we might have a little window for a bit maybe, I'm hoping anyway. Let's get down these tables. Going to be windy, but we should be out of the wind in a bit when we get across the top, but we'll see. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. After the edit I've just done from Dartmoor, when it was super windy, the sound actually came out all right, so I'm not too worried. But yeah, so we've set off from my work, which is in Chivenor in Barnstable, and we're going to head out towards the top round the coast, which I've done a few times on a normal bike, more of an XC bike, and also my e-bike, but we're going to try it on this today. There will be parts that will just be really muddy, I reckon, but we'll see. Some of it might even be a little bit underwater. Good test of the mug hugger as well, because I haven't used it in adverse weather yet. It's been fairly dry when I've ridden this bike, so we'll see how that goes with keeping. Right, that's the first bit done. I didn't record the rest of that after that first trip because it was just more of the same. So we've now got into Braunton. We're going along Route 27. There's two Route 27s. There's one that's a road and one that is an off-road mountain bike route. So naturally we're going on to that one, although don't make you think that it means that it's off-road all the time, because it isn't, but there is some nice off-road sections on it, and you can do it both ways around. If you do it the opposite way to what I'm going today, then you end up with a very technical climb the other way up, which is possible definitely on an e-bike, difficult but possible, and I reckon a competent XC rider could do it in the dry. Getting into a bit of the off-roady section now, so that's nicer. And just as the traffic noise has died down, we now have wind. We are going up here. I'll do a bit of filming the GoPro in a sec, and it will basically be gravelly like this, and then there's parts where there's ruts and all sorts of wibbly wobbly bits which can end up being a little bit tricky, and it also depends how much the water over the last few months has eroded the track as well. Coming up to the very first climb now, so we're in a section where it splits off. I'm going to take the higher path that I'll show you in a second, but you can take a path that goes down here, which I've done before, and it is quite nice, but the trouble with that is it takes you quite far away from the rest of Route 27, which we're following a lot of, not all of, but quite a bit. And it also involves, you want to get back there up a really big road climb, which is a 60-mile-an-hour road as well. So when there are vehicles coming up there, they don't expect to see cyclists a lot of the time, but they don't anyway down here. They don't like cyclists, so you have to watch and be a little bit careful. But if you were here on foot, it's a really nice walk that you could sort of like come back to. So it's much nicer to go on foot, I think, that way than actually on a bike. But to be fair, it's those climbs that make it like off-roady anyway. There's very little downhill off-roady stuff. This is much more of a fitness ride, but you can use this route, and I've done it before, to get to those places that I mentioned that have actually got trails on them. So you can get to the place that I said they're building, and the other secret spot. You can take this route from where I live or where I work to actually get to those ones if you want to make it a really big loop. Quite a long climb, this one. It's a plodder just to get into a nice rhythm. They have done some stuff down here, made the path a bit better, which is nice. Now at the top of the first climb, so as the pedal goes, I wouldn't say it was any harder than any of the other bikes I pedal up there. So I've gone up there on my, years ago, I had a Trek cross-country carbon bike. That, interestingly, was like super light. You think it'd be brilliant, but I found it really hard to go up there because it was so slippy, and that made it really tricky with the XC tyres on it. Then I'd gone up there on my 27.5 hardtail, my nuke-proof Scout. That's with 150mm travel at the front. That was better than the XE bikes that had better tyres. Been up there on the e-bike. Now clearly the e-bike's going to win because it's got electric assistance, but considering that the Orbea is 170, which is really quite a big enduro bike, that felt really quite easy to pedal. And I'm not at my fittest at the moment because I haven't been running, so the only fitness I've actually got is pedaling that bike. That's it, because I haven't got any other means. I can't run. I can walk, but you know, walking's walking, isn't it? And then what we're going to do is start going down. So muddy, rocky descent, nothing major, but you would want off-road tyres for it, like minimum XC, because it's a bit rough and sloppy. We'll go down a little bit careful because of things like this. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a very low-lying branch down there. It's not somewhere that it's commonly gone down on a bike, I would imagine, so it's not kind of looked after like a trail, and it's a public footpath, so you do have to be careful of people coming down the other way. And also horses. Oh, look, a deer! Wow! Oh, I hope that was on the camera. And that's why you have to be careful going down these things, because there are a lot of horses around. Clip clop, clip clop, clip clop. I feel like I'm flying up this hill. Definitely out of breath, but legs feel really strong on it. I think I could adjust the saddle position slightly so it points a little bit more down. But that's me having not fiddled with the saddle rather than the positioning of the saddle being bad in relation to geometry of the bike. This is where the sign got confusing. So the very first time I did this route, I thought it meant that way. Now you can go that way again. If you had gone straight on there, that would have been the better place if you wanted to stay on the road and do Route 27 that way, but I don't. I want to go across this other part, which is off-road again, so therefore we take that turn. This route that I'm cycling today was going to be a training run for me for my half and my full marathons, but if you've been following along, you will know that since about November last year, my life kind of like went a bit of a backflip, and I had knee injury, foot injury, knee came back, foot and knee got better, and then hurt my ankle. So I'm pretty sure that this year I am destined to not run a marathon because, well, I've missed the half marathon, that was in January, so that's long gone, and the full marathon is in May, and I currently can't run more than like 10 steps. This is the next notable stopping point. So there is a public footpath gate there, so there's a public footpath behind me. I've never actually been on that, so I don't know exactly where it goes, although I can give a pretty good guess. I'm not going through that gate though. I'm going to go down there, which takes you up to an aerial mast, and it's usually very muddy and wet this time of year, so I might be underwater with at least up to my ankles in a minute. Here's some little Easter lammies. You can't see it very well, but over there behind the green, that's not the sky, that is Saunton Beach. So that is the sea over there. You might be able to just see some waves. I can see some waves through the screen. So we are heading up this way, and then we're going to drop down into that little bit of valley there. Here is where the e-bike comes in really good for this climb, because it just helps to get over the slippiness and everything else. But what you have to watch with the e-bike is these great big puddles, because some of them are really, really deep. It's a lot better than I thought it would be down here. I can definitely say this mud hugger is really good. This isn't even the biggest one either. There is a bigger one than this, but it's definitely stopping the splashback onto my camera and onto my face, which is really, really good. We are coming to the end of this top path up here. I'm probably not tall enough to see over the hedge, but this is an area that I really like to run as well. It's just nice because it's already off-road, and it's usually really quiet as well because they're a bit out there. So to get to these paths, you'd have to walk or cycle quite far anyway. So I think that kind of puts people off to get them. So when we get to the bottom of here, I'll show you where we're going, but another path as well that we could go on if we wanted to. But that takes us down into near a place called Georgium, and to get out of there I've either got to go through Croydon up a big hill, road hill, or turn to the right and go back up another big hill to get back onto this path again. This is the path down through that gate that takes you down there, and it's much of the same of what we've just done really, except it's downhill and usually very wet. And then there you go, see it says Border and Georgium there, and there's another really good path which is a footpath, and we're definitely not going to cycle on that because as you get across the field over there, you've got to get up a couple of stiles, and then you've got to go down some paths that are that's probably be quite good on a bike that I've run on before, but it gets very, very narrow, and then you've got to do more stiles and bits and pieces, and they're definitely footpaths. I went down this path once on the e-bike in the summer, and it was so overgrown I got slapped in the face with so many stingy nettles and everything else that had overgrown that when I got back I had like a rash all over my face, down my legs and my arms, so I'm not keen to replicate that. Down this downhill bit, been going just over an hour now, done just over 6 miles, which is not bad because I don't really feel like I've done anything. So that's quite testament to the bike as well, really, that it hasn't been a chore to go on a route that I've previously felt like out a chore. Okay, so there is quite a lot of overgrown stuff, so we'll take it a bit easy, because things like this can come around and just like grab your hands and your handlebars, so I don't want that to happen to me today. You've also got to watch as well, because underneath this mud are lots of slabs, and they do get very, very slippery in the wet, especially if they're going to be hidden under a bit of mud or some plant stuff that's fallen down. Oh, it's so windy now as well. It's probably going to be very windy when we get down, because if you think about the footage I took of the sea with the waves, I imagine those waves that I saw from a distance are out very big today and blown out. I don't have my melon glasses on today because it really annoys me when I get water. Oh my god, I just swallowed a fly. I get water on my lenses and I don't want to have to keep stopping to wipe them, and I promised myself I am not going to wreck these glasses or goggles that I've got from Melon. So what I need to do is make sure I don't get them super wet and then stupidly wipe them with a dirty hand. Okay, so we're nearly at the end now. I'm going to make a few adjustments to this bike. It's now officially mine, so I'm going to steal some suspension off another bike, and I'm going to take my handlebars off the Sam's Cruise, because that can have these handlebars on to go up for sale, and that will help my wrist. I definitely can feel having the flatter bars on here. So we're nearly off the golf course. Been absolutely battered with the wind and the rain. Glad I got my coat on now. It always happens, even when I run on here, the weather just changes. But I do love it around here. So path. It's very well worn in, and it's a bridleway, so expect walkers and cyclists and horses. I've never actually seen a horse on here when I've been on here, but I have seen a horse hoof print in the mud, so they do come on here, but majority of the time it'll be, well, the majority of what I've seen have been other walkers, runners or cyclists. Talked about before where you can get back onto the Burrows training area, so this is a choice bit here, so we're going to go through this gate, but you could, if you wanted to, go a little bit further on and take a gate over here and get into the training area that way. Aim down here, more of this sort of trail puddles when it's really bad weather. Of course, we had 2 weeks of really dry weather, so this has dried out an awful lot. If this weather that we've been having carries on, a lot of this will be under some really big puddles, and there's not much alternative to go around them. I tried once to go round on my left, see if I go past it, and I ended up in a real marsh instead, which was worse. Starting to get a bit hungry now. There was a point where I thought, oh, maybe I'll go around again to do some different trails, but I'm starving, really hungry today, but I'm really pleased with myself. I'm so glad I came out. That's actually thanks to Pete, because I was just going to be miserable and do the biker inside the gym to get some miles in, but he persuaded me that I could still probably go out and do an XC ride, which isn't my favourite, but I'm actually really enjoying today, and it has helped that it's not torrential rain now, so please don't let me have jinxed that. We are at the end of that part of the bridle path. We are now at the crossover point where we can head back that way. Okay, so that will take us towards the Braunton Burrows main car park, then go back along there, little higgledy-piggledy, and back to work. Or we can go through the gate behind me that my bike's on, and you can head that way, and that can take you down to the beach at Crow Point, and you could head around there over the dunes into Saunton if you wanted to, and then of course that's the path that we've just come from, but it should take you back to Saunton as well. This is the main car park and the hut. So It's free in the week at the moment outside of the season, but if you come at the weekend it's £2 or £3 to park, and sometimes you get like a free cup of tea or coffee as well with your ticket. I think it's like £2. So it's not too bad really. It's quiet there today because of the weather, but it gets rammed in the summer. Come to the end of the swan section and didn't see any swans, which is probably sensible because it's really windy. But the question is, where did the swans go when it is bad weather? Because thinking about it, they often only see swans when it's not bad weather. So what happens to them when the weather's bad? If you know, let me know because I'll be interested. We have a ride back to the Tarka Trail where we started from, so we'll soon be heading back to work. Nearly back. So far it has taken 1 hour and 45 minutes, just over 20k. Really pleased with that because I was taking it super steady and I've stopped a couple of times to do filming, so that's pretty good. And I am hungry, definitely. That's why I'm quite glad to be getting back. And here we are. I was going to show you the cafe, which is really good. Pete and I go to this a couple of times a week for lunch, but it's shut, so I can't. Clearly muddy. I would like to say it's only muddy from this one ride, but I've been a bit bad and I haven't cleaned it, so I'm going to clean it now. And it's done. Lovely and sheen. Thanks for the chain cleaner. Bike bottles pretty clean as well, and just the rest of it's all nice and shiny. Let it dry off a bit, then stick it back into the... In here is the new part of the gym that is under construction at the moment. It was an empty industrial unit. We've painted it in the blue and grey Fortis colours, so that's ongoing work. But in here, that's where I'm storing the pressure washer and stuff that we use for our cars, because there's an awful lot of bird poo that seems to get on them all the time, as well as something very handy to clean the bikes. So that is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little cross-country ride. In terms of the bike, I would say, personally for me, that the Rallon felt as good as a Santa Cruz or as good as the e-bike up those hills, and I'm not massively high on fitness at the moment, as I said before. So for me, the fact that it was really comfortable, I was able to spin nicely up the hills, and it's just really comfy, and I wasn't as knackered as I thought I was going to be riding a 170 travel bike around the cross country route. So I would say it all depends on the bike, and maybe travel doesn't mean as much as what you think it does. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you at the next one.